Over 66 million people live in the UK. 70,000 of those people die from infections each year. Antibiotics are used to treat infections caused by bacteria. However, over a fifth of prescribed antibiotics are unnecessary. I'm Monty McPhee, and we explore the danger of infections
because I could have developed organ failure
and the threat of a worldwide epidemic.
For the last 30, maybe 40 years, there hasn't been a new antibiotic developed.
This is Bugs in Britain. We're in Dorset, home to Poole Hospital, who take in over 500,000 patients each year, an influx 40% higher than most London hospitals. Over 79% of its population visit a pharmacy each year, and we're here to discover how Dorset are fighting the battle against infections. I've arranged to meet with Kasha, a local pharmacist manager, to take us through the most prominent infections during winter. What is the biggest threat to public health that you think at the moment?
That's a difficult question, because this time of the year it's obviously all the winter illnesses, including influenza, flu. So that is a massive burden to NHS. So I think it's managing those symptoms and managing complications or preventing complications of those illnesses. I think is important.
What are the symptoms or reasons that you would refer someone to go to the hospital?
With all the winter illnesses, or most of the winter illnesses, the symptoms are self-limiting. So often patients start to feel better in a week or two, but there are circumstances in which we have to send the patients straight to A&E or even call an ambulance.
Common viruses can lead to life-threatening complications such as sepsis. Sepsis occurs when the body is responding to an infection of the blood. Tonsillitis commonly triggers sepsis. This was the case for 20-year-old Rosie, who is here at Otto Coffee House to tell us about her experience.
So initially it started off as tonsillitis, and I was given 10 days of penicillin to treat that. And then 2 days after coming off the penicillin was when I started first having symptoms of the sepsis coming up, the infection going into my blood. Before being rushed off to hospital, I had an IV cannula put in, and they gave me 3 different types of antibiotic and fluids as well. And I went into the ambulance and I was rushed off to Southampton General, and I stayed there for a couple of nights, being given antibiotics all day, all night, until my symptoms eventually got better.
Infections are generally caused by a virus or a bacteria. However, antibiotics only treat bacterial infections. After hearing about Rosie's near-death experience, I'm at Poole Hospital to meet Paul, the lead infection prevention and control nurse, who will take us through the antibiotic crisis and how to test for infections.
For the last 30, maybe 40 years, there hasn't been a new antibiotic developed. There has, at the same time, been an increase in the number of bacteria and the classes of bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. So the more tests that we are able to do to identify what specific types of bacteria and viruses and fungi are causing infections, and then what antibiotics they're sensitive to, means that we can treat the patients with the right antibiotics.
I met up with a young girl earlier who suffered from sepsis last year. Do you have any tests to see if people do have sepsis?
So sepsis is one of those problems that as a person looking after patients, you're always looking out for. But sepsis isn't something that you can have a specific test for, but there are specific things that you can look for to see if a person is developing sepsis. So we're looking to grow and identify the pathogen that's making that patient unwell, so that then we can target that bacteria, that virus, that fungus with the right treatment so that we can make that patient better as quickly as possible and get them out.
With the thoughts of experts and the story of a survivor, it has shown me what we can do as the public to help this worldwide battle.